appreciated and unhappy resident. I left the last residency retreat with many unsaid thoughts. I've been involved in medical education for almost 15 years. I've been a residency program director, an associate program director, a section chief, a mentor, and a resident probation officer. Through the years, I've worked with numerous medical students, residents, fellows, faculty, administrators, deans, chairs, and vice chairs. I've also been part of multiple educational task forces, committees, emergency meetings, powwows, and retreats. I've worked with tired and disillusioned residents before, and this retreat felt like a big deja vu. I wish you would listen and trust to what I have to say, but you probably won't. Regardless, this is a letter for you. I was a radiology resident 20 years ago, and medical education was very different. I know you've heard this before, the good old days. But was it better or worse? Did we work more or less? The honest answer is that nobody really knows. If you ask me, some things were better and some others were not. Everything changes. There is nothing more constant than change itself. Medicine and radiology have changed immensely in the past decade. To put it in perspective, when I was a resident, there were no PACS or EMR. We had to spend time organizing films in the negatoscope and handwriting our dictations. Teleradiology and voice recognition were science fiction, to be honest. Radiologists got paid more for cases, but the volumes were much lower. It was certainly simpler, but less efficient. Today we have more volumes, higher technological efficiency, which invariably translates to more work in less time. It's easy to understand why you feel that medical education may be taking the back seat in our residency program. But that's just not the truth. Let me explain. There is no doubt that the clinical demands of all physicians across all specialties have multiplied in the last 2 decades. More information, more patients, regulations, better treatments, and lower reimbursement are just a few of the culprits. It almost feels like a race. Every day running as fast as possible to finish all our clinical responsibilities so we can go home at a decent time. No wonder there seems to be little time left for education and research. The bad news is that one-to-one teaching in every single clinical encounter is mostly dead, a thing of the past. The very good news is that information technology has made the passing of knowledge much more efficient. There is an abundance of information at our fingertips, from peer-reviewed journals to books to up-to-date virtual conferences. Everything at your fingertips. 15 years ago, residents arrived at call with a carry-on suitcase full of books just because there was no Google, not to count the many books in the mini ER reading room library. The only way to get tested on medical knowledge was through one-to-one teaching or formal tests. Today we have online quizzes and tests prepared by the same societies that are tasked to maintain knowledge adequacy. I feel like the faculty is here to teach experiences acquired through the years and reinforce your knowledge. Traditional teaching is still important, but it has evolved in medicine and it will keep evolving in the years to come. In fact, many younger students prefer to watch recorded classes in double speed from the comfort of their home or coffee shop than to sit hours in a classroom. Please understand that today more than ever, you own the responsibility of acquiring factual knowledge. The faculty is responsible to teach you how to best apply that knowledge based on their prior experiences. Now let's talk about the ACGME. The ACGME is a necessary evil. There has to be an all-powerful institution that sets rules and laws that ensures quality and safe medical education for both trainees and patients. Without the ACGME, medical education will be extremely variable between institutions and, quite frankly, dangerous in some places. But please know that the ACGME will never do anything for you as an individual resident. The ACGME doesn't help any institutions besides setting rules and providing information and education about them. That brings me to the ACGME annual survey. To this day, I don't really understand why most residents and faculty don't understand the purpose of the survey. This is not the tool to express temper tantrums or to punish your residency program for recent negative events. In the past 15 years, I've been part of 3 surveys that have been trashed by the residents and in 3 different institutions. In all 3 cases, the bad score was related to transitory resident discontentment. usually a consequence of recent changes in management, the resignation of an unhappy key faculty, the transfer of residents, or even the change in information technology. The three instances resulted in emergency meetings, retreats, powwows, and promises. Some positive things were achieved, but many more hurt feelings were left behind. What I don't recall for sure is the ACGME sending actual money to the institution or fixing the residents' perceived problems. A bad survey would just raise a flag that can result in probation or loss of accreditation. In that event, everybody will lose, but you, the resident, would lose the most. Be honest in the ACGME survey, but don't use it as a tool to punish the program. The ACGME has been around for a long time and is no dummy. Like a colleague told me many years ago, it takes very disillusioned and angry residents to continuously trash the ACGME survey, knowing they're shooting themselves in the foot. And the ACGME knows that, which I believe is the purpose of the survey, like an interview, to weed out the extremes. I hold great memories of my days as a faculty and program director at the University of Puerto Rico. The residency program there had little resources when compared to the larger programs here in the continental United States. At that time, we were at least 10 years behind in technology. Also, most of the faculty were part-time given the low salaries. But we had something much more precious: pride and passion. The residents were proud to be part of the training program, and they wore their lab coats with the radiology department insignia with the most pride. We felt the sky was the limit, and those residents accomplished monumental success. 5 years of extensive research production, 100% first take board passing rate, and a collective 95 percentile on the in-service. There is no doubt in my mind that those residents were very smart, but what set them apart was their passion and love for the training program. They fed each other with enthusiasm and positivism, and it made them industrious. You can do the same in our residency program, you know? Our residency program has all the tools you need to be successful. You just need to add passion and enthusiasm. Be positive. Be proud of where you are and of what you're becoming. Inevitable obstacles are always better conquered with the right attitude. A single resident has little power in a big institution like ours, or at least that's probably the way you feel. But a group of united residents has more power than a chair. I say this with all honesty. Our medical center would not exist if it wasn't for patient care and education. Not one or the other, but both. As a group, you have more power than what you would ever believe, but you have to do it in a cohesive and responsible way. Our training program is not perfect, and there is always room for improvement. You can bring about numerous positive changes if you stick together and organize. Bring your well-intentioned complaints. They are important to us, but bring them the right way, and the first step is to unite as a group. We all tend to think that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence because of things we hear, things we read on the internet, or friends we have on the other side. But the problems I describe here affect every single medical center in the United States. I was recently talking to a faculty at another institution about the changes in medical education and the increased demands on faculty. The problems she described to me were extremely similar to the problems I experienced in our own institution. Furthermore, I've worked at 2 other educational institutions and can honestly say that they too face constant problems and challenges. Nobody is immune to hard times. Focusing on the problems in front of you is much more productive than concentrating on the perceived strengths of some other place. So let's work together and let's move forward. Your education is our priority. I sometimes wish you were a fly on the wall during our faculty and administrative meetings. Yes, we complain when the resident arrive late and show little evidence of study, but much more than that, we fight for you and for your educational experience. We're all proud of our residency program, and we want nothing more than to see you all succeed and become the best radiologists in the nation. In all honesty, that's our commitment. One last thing, I want to offer you a piece of advice about work ethics and hard work. Medical education is hard. There is no sugarcoating here. But medicine is and will always be, in my opinion, the most sacred profession. The sacrosanct moment when another human being completely opens to you in the hopes of a cure or just to relieve. To alleviate human suffering is the greatest gift we can give or receive in this life. For that reason, and as a faculty, I will allow you to participate and learn from the patient I'm caring for only if you're willing to assume this sacred responsibility. There are no excuses here, and there is no half commitment. If you're truly invested in your education, if you work hard, and if you're kind, you'll leave this place with all the tools you need to be successful. Of that, I'm 100% certain. Thank you.